Matt freaking HAYMAN, dude. I just don't have words for last night, what I witnessed. Jacqueline, do you remember what I told you like minutes, seconds after Matt's dunk about my knees?
Yes.
What'd I say?
The only time you have gone to your knees like that was the Duke win.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't go to my knees at the same time is because y'all will hear all about it, but I had a terrible sinus headache yesterday, and we had just had a few sloppy possessions. And so I was sitting back, my feet up on the wall. I was just like, I need to rest for a minute. And so it took me a sec to like get my feet down and gather myself to jump up and go wild. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And by the way, that dunk made number 3 on Score Center top 10.
It did. Believe me, my mother made sure she sent it to me this morning and said, guess what? I was like, dude, I haven't even gotten out of bed yet. Like, give me a break. She goes, Matt was on Sports Center number 3. I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah. I'm glad that it made Sports Center top 10, because if it didn't, I was going to write a strongly worded letter, file a formal complaint. I mean, I already have written many strongly letters about SF Austin. Just add that to the pile of formal complaints. But yeah, crazy game. Welcome everyone to Pardon Me, Alex. Man, we are the only men's basketball podcast on the market, and we are going to talk about this hell of a dogfight of a game. It was something, I'll tell you what. We'll get all into it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk more about the dunk. We'll talk more about the after effects of said dunk and everything afterwards. It was a game. It was a long one. Felt like it lasted 10 hours. It felt.
You're telling me.
It was a longer one. It was a long one. We got home. Of course, Jacqueline had to drive an hour and 45 back to her home, but we were so tired.
I was dead. Sorry, one of my cats is chirping in the background. Yeah.
Dead. Like emotionally, physically, mentally spent from this game last night.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's talk about our pregame and then go into the game. Jacqueline, so what did we do? You wanted to meet me somewhere prior to the game, and where was that somewhere?
Yeah, so Alex and I did a little short, maybe like an hour-ish pregame at the newly renovated Fredonia Brewery tap room.
Mm-hmm.
If any of y'all follow their social media, of course, Alex has been posting lots of videos and pictures and updates. Of course, I had seen all those, but I just had to see it in person for myself. So we met up there for about an hour before the game, and it is, if you haven't seen it in person, you must go and pick out your spot at the bar now before they're all taken up.
Yeah, I've been telling people all the time, like, I can take all the pictures in the world, I can put up all the videos in the world, but honestly, they don't do it justice. You have to go in and see it in person in order to fully, like, take in the structural and design aesthetic and beautifulness that is that bar. Paul and company did a fantastic job on the reno. Everything's wood. It all like matches. It feels and looks like it's been there the whole time, and it should have been there the whole time. Yeah, we're really, really excited about it. So if you haven't been in lately, now's the time to go back. So 2 thumbs up for that. Same good beer, but double the bar space.
Lots of way more than double.
I know, that's true. It is definitely way more than double. It's just so weird now walking in, and like it's gonna be very interesting, especially for tomorrow, because it's our chili cook-off tomorrow. So it'll be our first like big day with the new bar set up and situation. So I have a feeling that we're going to be pretty darn busy. So
Yeah,
I'm
you'll
excited. It's going to be a long
break
day tomorrow. Like, I'm going to bed early. I have to get up there early to help set up. Like, it's going to be a long day, but I'm excited. It'll be a good day. Very, very good day for Fredonia Brewery. So if you're around, if you're in town this weekend, pop by, come see us over at the brewery.
Yeah, go help break it in properly.
Please, after the reno, we need the money influx into our bank account. Oh my God. Gracias. Anywho, all right. So had a fun little pregame, went to the game. They were giving away the next little set of the little crock. I want to call them like little giblets, but that's not, I don't know if that's not the giblets.
I think it's gibbet. I don't think there was any L.
I have no freaking clue. I just know it's the little thingies you put on your Crocs. That's all I know. So that was the next little line of little Croc charm decor things you stick in your Crocs. So this one was the angry lumberjack, the angry walking lumberjack. I was very excited for these. I'm very pumped for these. I didn't think I'd be a person that would put little charms on my Crocs, but I didn't even think I'd have Crocs 10 years ago. So
yeah, and I don't wear Crocs, so but I was glad the last one I grabbed anyway, and then I was able to give it to Amber for one of her kids, and then this one I grabbed, and one of my friends from high school was at the game with her kids, and she texted me and asked if I happened to get one because her youngest really wanted one. So I met them at halftime and gave it to him. He was so pleased. So she sent me a picture right after of it on his shoe. So
good.
Cute. Yeah.
That's so cute. I'm glad. Yeah. So cool little giveaway. I'll appreciate it. I've gotten you being around me very often has you've been saying more things that I say. Oh, I'm going to turn you into a Croc girl one of these days. Come on. So. I never thought I would have Crocs. I hand up. I will say I was against them from the start, and now I love me. They don't. You have to wear them out. They could just be house shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I have some of the like thick platform, smushy slides, and I like those. So those are kind of my like, just throw them on to take Gabby out.
All right.
I'm good on the Crocs.
I'm gonna work on them, guys. I'm gonna work on her. Anyway, so yeah, had the little Croc giveaway. But yeah, so coming into this game, we talked about this last time. I already knew it was going to be a friggin' fight. There was a good team. It was a good Seattle team. They played some really good teams so far, did well, hung in there with a lot of the better teams in the nation. And I knew it was going to be a dogfight. I knew it. Anytime we play Seattle, I feel like it's a dogfight. So, yeah, it was through and through. It was. So let's talk about it, Jax.
It sure was. So the general history and background with us in Seattle. So we'd only played them twice before this. So we went into the game 1-1, 1 loss, 1 win. Our last matchup against them was January 28th of 23. We did win 79-65. So seeing as we only have now, So before that, we only have one win. So you could say largest and smallest margin of victory was that win. 79-65, only one.
Yeah. Shwoo. I tell you what, what is today's date? The 19th. Okay. When it comes to standings, nothing much has changed for us specifically on the standings or the resume seating, but I'll just kind of recap very quickly. Grand Canyon's still at the top, haven't lost a single WAC game at 7-0. They're 17-1 overall. I'm pretty sure I saw something last night that said they have the best record in basketball currently, like all of basketball.
Cool.
Which, I mean, that's probably good for the WAC, but not great for us. So,
yeah.
I mean, again, it puts more eyeballs on the WAC, which is always good. But when it comes to us playing them next week, not ideal.
No.
Anywho, moving on. Like I said, the resume seating is still the same. We're still in third place, which is great. Doing well there, haven't moved. So not much has changed on that front either. So we can move on from that.
Alrighty. So for this game, our starters, we had AJ, Nana, Jelani, Matt, and Trell. So first game back for Trell starting. We didn't have Day starting. He's nursing a little bit of a knee injury. I don't think anything too serious, but definitely not at full speed. So anyhow, we did win in overtime by 5, 89-84. The attendance was pretty decent. I think yesterday was the first day of classes back. So we had 2,361.
It was the first day. So we had a decent number of students, probably mostly student athletes, but I'll take it in the attendance. So I'll take it.
Yep. So Sean Kennedy's stat section. So kind of like the last game, it was back and forth a lot. So I wanted to start off this time with that stat. The score was tied 15 times and the lead changed 13 times.
Oof.
This was a lot. So our field goal percentage was 44.1. Our 3-point percentage, 31.6. Our free throw percentage was 73.8. We did have only 34 points in the paint, which isn't quite as high as we would like, especially for, a game that went overtime. So we had some extra minutes. But, our points off turnovers were 19, as were our second chance points. We had 16 fast break points, 36 bench points, which again, not the highest that we've had this season, but a lot of our starters scored quite a bit, and the points were quite spread out, which we will get to. Our total rebounds, so we did out-rebound them by 13. We had 47. We had 15 offensive boards and 32 defensive boards. We had 27 fouls, which I was surprised when I looked at the stats that they had one more foul than us. However, they did foul a lot at the end, which I'll also get to.
Right.
Good time. We had 16 turnovers. They only had 12. But we did have like 4 turnovers in the first 4 minutes of the game, which I'll also get to in the grievances section. We had 6 steals and 1 block. So this game, I'm actually going to list out the top 6 scorers on our game leaders because we had 6 in double figures and multiple of them were tied with each other. So we had JALIL with a double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. We had Nana also at 16 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 assist, 1 block. So every stat there was, and just 2 rebounds away from a double-double. We had Matt with 14 points and 9 rebounds, just 1 rebound shy of a double-double. We had AJ with 13 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound. Trell had 10 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal. And Frank with 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. So a lot. And I'll get to it on my word of the game. But so the Pilgrim's Pride player of the game was JALIL. Amazing game. Like I said, I just read y'all his stats. Double-double. Best game he's played all season by far.
Best game he's played as a lumberjack. Totally.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a lot more points on all these guys that we'll cover when we get to our feats of strength. I'm sure we'll both have a lot, but
I'm just not. I'm at a loss of words. I feel like for JALIL because first of all, this has been a long time coming for him. I think because last season he had a rough go of it because of his injury. He barely played, half the season or less. I mean, poor guy was really trying to, towards the end of the season, there was just fighting to get playing time and fighting to get better. And it was just a rough season for him. So now coming into this season, where last season it was really just not on him. And, of course, Day plays like a big. But then coming into this season, you have multiple guys who play the post position. And so trying to get time and minute, for God's sake, Scotty, trying to get time and minutes in the game can also be few and far between. So for him to get in there and have such a huge game, huge impact. I mean, he played 22 minutes. He didn't even play the most on the team.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a stat line by a big like that, except for Day in a while. I mean, Nana had that one really good game last month, I believe it was. But other than that, like, he showed up, showed out, and played his absolute, took us off. When he came around and gave us hugs after the game, I squeezed him extra tighter, and I am so proud of you. Like, that was magnificent.
Yeah.
So,
it was a great game. And you're right. You wouldn't realize that not that 22 minutes isn't that much, but it felt like he played more than that until you look at the stats because of how many big game-changing plays and things and stats he added in there.
I mean, just for comparison, Nana played 36 minutes, almost. I mean, that's 12 minutes more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they scored the same amount of points and almost had the exact same stat line minus a couple. But like, you can just see, like, that's just I guess if you want to do a visual representation of time, right? Of how in 22 minutes he came in and absolutely dominated in his position and his role. And I'll say another thing about just in general the game before we talk about our feats of strength and such and player of the game. That game, Chauncey said it last night after the game, it was a total team win. Yeah. Total team win. Everybody was playing heightened, just at the highest point of their absolute game. I mean, obviously some people struggled from, the three or, struggled with fouling and things like that. But to have that many players in double digits, to have everybody contributing in some way, shape, or form is, you don't normally see that. You know what I mean? You just don't normally see that. I mean, and I guess it should be noted that the star player from Seattle wasn't on the court at all. He's been battling injuries. So obviously that has a little bit of, something to consider, especially if he, heals and gets better by the time we go play them.
Yeah.
That's something to consider. So everybody keep that in mind too. But that's not to say that they're no slouch. I mean, clearly, they had us on the ropes the entire time. There was never a point in time in that game where I sat back. I'm like, I feel comfortable.
Yeah, never. That road game is going to be tough, whether they have him or not, but exceptionally more tough if they have their star player.
100%. So, with that being said,
so for me, as a player of the game has to be Jalil. I agree with the Pilgrim's Pride player of the game, but definitely extra little honorable mention, shout out to Matt and Nana both. And like you said, we had 6 players in double figures, and we're going to cover more of that on our feats of strength. So,
yeah, I basically just wrote what Jack said, 100% what you say about our player of the game. I mean, Jalil's the guy. I mean, I think I even said it during the middle of I didn't know what time it was on the clock when I said it. I was like, that's our dude. That's our dude tonight. Jalil, I was like, but Matt, holy crap, coming in hot as well. And Nana was like a silent assassin with his points, he was in. He made some huge moves and good moments, especially in the first half too, to really kind of keep us in there. But you wouldn't have thought that he had 16 points. I didn't think he had 16 points when I saw the stats. Yeah. It's like, holy Nikes. Where did that 16 points come from? Again, I'm not mad about it, but all right. I mean, so, it was one hell of a game. That's all I got to say. One hell of a game. Let's see. Oh, Jesus.
Hey, Jose.
What's up, players? Go Jacks. That's right, Jose. Did you watch the game last night? Are you alive? Are you at brunch? What are you doing?
I don't think he watched it last night. It was he's been in Texas for a few days, and I won't even cover that because I think it's a sore subject. But last night was his last night in Texas. He texted me right when I got back. Sorry, I definitely fell asleep on you. So, hi.
Bless. Okay.
All right, let's jump right into feats of strength. So, first one we got to cover is JALIL, and I already read y'all his stats. So, I'm just going to say I have 2 additional notes on him for that game. First of all, that deep 3 was so wild that you can ask Alex. It was, and listen, I know that Jalil can make the 3, and I do have confidence in him to make the 3. That's not it at all. But it was quite far out, and I'm pretty sure it was like the first or second pass of the possession. So I just wasn't quite sure it was the shot we were looking for. So my like knee jerk reaction was I was like, oh, Jalil, don't do it.
I know. We both felt that way. You said it.
Like, never mind. And then back to back next possession sinks another 3. So that was awesome. My second note on him, he did so much better from the free throw line this game. He was 8 of 12. So
he did. His first one was a miss. So it started off kind of rough, but then he really picked it up. Which I love.
Yeah, which I mean that's about what 2/3 to like 66%. Still not as high as I would like for it to be, but it was better.
Still better, absolutely. Let me go back to my noties over here. First of all, we know Trell. We wore our lucky Trell shirts, thinking that the lucky Trell shirts would give Trell some luck. They didn't with the 3, but they did everywhere else. So I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. Trell, if you're mad, if you're sad, if you're mad at yourself, don't worry about it. We love you. I don't give a shit. We won the game. That's all that matters. But Trell still, he is such a vital part of this team that no matter what, when he's on that court, he's making plays in some form or fashion. So this too felt like a 3.
Yes.
We all thought it was a 3, but apparently it was a deep 2. I don't know. Show me the tapes, roll it back. I think it was a 3, but they called it a deep 2. That just means 3 to me, you freaking schmuck. So here's that right at the buzzer too.
Yes, right on the shot clock buzzer.
I just love Trell. I think he even when he's maybe and that's another thing too. He's just coming off a little bit of an injury as well. And so he's still trying to like get his mojo back and get back in the swing of playing on full tilt. But I mean, when AJ and Chemo aren't in the game playing point guard, I mean, he's in there doing that role as well. 100% from the free throw. Again, he scored 10 points. Which again might not sound great. You're like, oh, but Trell, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. 10 points is 10 points, babe. That's no slouch. Those free throws were critical. He was perfect from the free throws. Could you imagine it?
That's a lot of free throws to make. Like it'd be one thing if you were saying, 100%, and they're like 2 for 2, but which is still good, but 8 for 8.
Exactly. It's hard to be 100% on your free throws. It's very difficult. It's a very high pressure situation, and to be 8 for 8, 100%. I'm going to look away from that 0-3 3-point. You know what I mean? Like I'm not mad about it whatsoever. Nana scoring first. Love that for him. We started off slow, but him coming in and getting us on the board pretty quickly after a little bit of a drought in the beginning of the game really kind of invigorated the guys. And Nana had some great plays in this game.
Yes, he did. And talking about starting off the actual game with scoring, also in overtime, he had the first 2 baskets. So he was really like getting us started everywhere. And I think that's where he kind of tacked on more of the points that we weren't thinking of in the overall picture. But he had a beautiful reverse layup one time. He had a great steal and fast break dunk.
Around the very next play, block, and then almost 3.
Yeah, he
Could
made
you imagine? Could you imagine if he had back-to-back nuts plays like that?
would have
Literally, the sawmill would have lost its top.
gone nuts.
Yeah.
He also made some clutch free throws at the end, and he played in foul trouble for quite a bit of the game. He ended the game with 4 fouls. So really good restraint on defense there. Test number 3, baby, on ESPN Top 10 are Matt Hayman. Yeah, so let's jump into talking about Matt.
Let's
So
go.
he made a great three. That dunk. I can't talk about it enough. Once they finally dropped, and I say finally, it was like a minute later. Once Hunter dropped us that little clip on Twitter, I probably watched it like just on a loop 4 or 5 times through every dead ball. Like,
and I can verify that. She was.
You
were watching it on a loop constantly, and every time I looked over, you were just on your phone, replay.
Anyone who watched the game on ESPN Plus, anytime you see me looking at my phone, most certainly if it's turned this way, that's what I'm looking at. That clip.
Honestly, that play, I can't even talk. It still blows my absolute mind away. The hang time, the sheer power of it. And Matt Hayman, I mean, he's not like, no Jelani Stone. Like, he's not like a big dude like that. He's, big enough, but he's not like a huge
he's very
guy.
lean. He's very lean.
Yes.
Like a muscular lean, but not like pumped up muscular.
Exactly. And so for him to get up that high, have that long of a hang time and that much power behind that dunk, I'm losing myself over here. I legitimately almost hit the floor is what I'm saying. I'm telling you, last time my knees got weak and I almost buckled and went to the floor was the Duke game. And I literally, my knees buckled at how I was like, oh God, I felt like I just went through a freaking earthquake is what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't the only one either. The guys on the bench,
that
was the funniest part. I had no like movement to even grab my phone to like record their reaction.
Right.
If I could rewind that reaction, it was hilarious. I just couldn't. It was disgusting. Matt Hayman, you are a disgusting individual. Those poor boys have families, and you just put their ass on post so hard. I can't even deal with it. ESPN top 3. ESPN top
3. Great. Okay, so out of our top,
Kyle's here. Give me a shout out, Kyle. Hi, buddy. Since I'm listening on my drive back to McAllen. Oh my goodness. Good luck on that drive, brother.
Drive. Okay, so out of our top 6 scorers, we have covered Jalil, Nana, and Matt and Trell. So let's talk about AJ next with 13 points. So like we say every game, his drives always so impressive. He made a big 3 at the end and clutch free throws at the end.
Always.
Then he had that drive at the end of OT. I mean, he is the dude you want to give the ball to on the last possession if you just need to try to drive and have a really good, opportunity and chance of making the bucket. But if not, getting fouled and being able to shoot the free throws.
100%. How many times have we seen AJ with the ball at the end of the game on the line-ish, going in for the layup, just absolutely bobbing and weaving, and yeah, he's insane. I love him on the team. I think he's such a fantastic player, and I think he is, he's such an important and crucial person on this team. When he's not on the court, it still flows well with Chemo, but Chemo's still new, so he's still like getting, filling out the ropes and stuff. So there's just something about Juice, man. He's nuts, dude. He's just nuts.
He certainly is. I think we have a little guest who's about to pop in on us.
My guy AJ, don't forget Frank.
We'll cover Frank next. Let's jump to him now while we wait on our guest. So, Frank, man, okay, I had my notes on him. He had a beautiful little transition down the court, spin for an easy bucket. He had some great free throws on the technical. He was 2 for 2 on that. Love when we can capitalize on free throws from a tech.
Oh my gosh. I agree with Frank. I agree. And you're right. We do have a special guest coming in live, hopefully very safely. We got our boy, Kyle McCone.
Hi guys. Yes, I'm driving, but I'm safe. I can focus on your questions and on your thoughts. I am so happy to be on with you guys right now. I just got done at South Padre Island.
Oh.
It was windy and overcast, but it was cool to be out on the beach. Took a little walk along the beach, and now I'm driving back to McAllen, Texas right now. So, yeah.
Nice.
That's really nice. I love that. Are we seeing a shaved head here? Got a little short haircut.
You know, I have calyx, and by shaving my head, it keeps those from showing up. So that's what we do, and it's a little bit more manageable.
Love
So
that for you. Love that for you. So, Kyle, I know you were over there watching, the Vaqueros down there, UTRGV, such a long mouthful. Yep. How was that? Give us a little snippet of that real fast, and we'll ask you about Jack stuff.
No, it was the women's game last night. Their women's team hosted UT Arlington, and the Lady Mavs they had won 7 straight and coming into that game, and UTRGV had won 1 WAC game. Good ball game, back and forth. The Vaqueros made plays down the stretch, and Lane Lord, their head coach, was like, "Hey, can you go to Tarleton tomorrow night? When we go to Tarleton, your good luck charm." So I don't know that Matt Feger, the men's coach, who I'll be at the men's game tomorrow night when they host Tarleton, would really want me to go, up to Stephenville tomorrow. So, no, it was a good time. It was a good ball game, and I was on ESPN Plus last night at halftime with Jonah. That was cool.
Saw that.
And then I had the stat streams up for UT Arlington and UTRGV men, the SFA Seattle U game. Saw the Matt HAYMAN dunk, dunk of the year in the WAC by far so far. I know, I don't know how many GCU fans you get to watch this, but I'll call it now. That's the dunk of the year. Like, you don't dunk over a 6'9", one of the best shot blockers in the WAC right now. And like I think you said it earlier, Alex, in the podcast, like, the amount of hang time that Matt had when he left, like where he left from.
Exactly.
Yikes! Like, that's.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that too, because you're right. Like, it wasn't like he dunked over like a 5'5" point guard. Like, no. he dunked over a tall, good shot blocker. Like,
yeah. Kobe Williamson's I think he's one of the leading. If he's not in the top shot blocker, he's in the top 5 in the WAC. And I mean, he's a veteran. He's been at Seattle for like 10 years. It feels like. I've said this before on a podcast.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't like Kobe shied away either. Like, he went up with 2 hands to block that shot, and HAYMAN threw it down. It was a haymaker. Like, there
absolute
you go.
Power.
A HAYMAN haymaker. That's the new name for it.
Yeah.
Just came up with that on this drive. It's awesome.
And Matt's only like 6'3". He's not that tall. I think it's 6'3". But yeah, and the hang time that he was in the air, I mean, from where he launched off, it was like Michael Jordan dunk contest.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it was smooth too. Like, it wasn't, some of those dunks you'll see, maybe the guy throws it down and maybe misses the rim, or there's contact there where they get slowed down a little bit so they can't fully finish, but there was no slowing down. Like, he threw that down with authority. And I tweeted it out, like, I think it's a dunk of the year, and it was on, 3 on SportsCenter's top 10, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, here's the other thing. People don't realize this too. Well, at least not people outside of SFA. Matt Hayman's not really known for being a dunker. Like, he's more of a perimeter shooter, knockdown jump shots. Like, he can dunk, but his are more breakaway style dunks, or like backdoor cut dunk, or so. Not driving straight down the middle of the lane. Maybe not the middle lane, but from the wing,
right,
and throwing it down over 6'9" dude. Like, that's not what he's known for. So that makes it even more impressive.
100%. And yeah, it was just a wild moment. I felt like I was watching it in slow-mo, and the dunk hurt around the whack, honestly, to be honest with you, it was wild.
Let's put it this way too, though. If the Jacks don't win that game last night in overtime, like, I don't know that I would have been as hyped about the dunk. It still would have been a dunk of the year, but it's like, now it's even better to talk about because the Jacks won the game. So
no, I totally agree. As soon as he threw that dunk down, I was like, if we don't win this game now, I'm going to be so pissed.
100%. 100%. Well, while we got you on, any other thoughts or feelings about the game in general before you head off?
I'm trying to figure out, and I don't want to get scrutinized. I may get a phone call here if he tunes in, or if somebody else on the staff is tuning in. But I get, that the Jacks have a ton of depth, right? Like, I get it, and I get that they're playing. I think within the first 2.5, 3 minutes yesterday, they played 9 players. Like, that's a lot. And I'm not saying they're not talented and not good enough to play. I think, see, this is why I don't get paid the big bucks to coach college basketball. That's not my decision. So I can have an opinion on this. I think that you have to start settling on a top 7, 8 guys for now and getting a flow going, because these close games, SFA is too talented. This SFA squad, too talented, too experienced to be going to overtime at home against a team that was playing without its best player last night, right? Like, these close games shouldn't be happening with the talent and the experience you have back and the pieces you added. I mean, it's not like Frank Stain's not a newcomer to the WAC. He's been in the WAC for 3 years.
Right.
Jelani Stone, same thing. AJ's been there a couple years. Day Hall, I know he's dealing with a knee issue, and that's why he didn't play much yesterday. But, like, I think you have to have continuity, and by trying to get everybody minutes, because, I mean, they're good enough to have minutes, but you got to have the guys you trust the most in there playing the most, because those are the guys that are going to, I don't know. I love Kyle Keller, so I don't want to get that phone call, for scrutinizing the rotations and stuff. But I just think you have to take a look at that instead of trying to play all 11, 12, 13 guys, because you feel like maybe you'll lose one if they don't get the minutes that they think they're going to get, or they should get, or whatnot. You kind of have to clamp down now, because you're in the meat of your schedule, conference schedule, right? Every game matters, because you have to play your way into WAC Vegas, and you want to get back to the NCAA tournament. And so just that flow, that continuity, I think is a big thing to look at, from a standpoint of what we've seen so far this year. And the thing is, some guys get hot in a game and you just want to keep riding them. I get that, but by the middle of January, which we're in, you should know which guys are going to be the guys that are going to get you to where you need to get to, right? Like,
I don't think you'll have to worry about a call, because we've literally said the exact same thing on multiple episodes, and that's the thing. That's our opinion. We aren't the coach. We aren't getting paid to do it. They aren't asking us. But this is our platform to tell our opinion. And I agree with you. It's a really tough middle ground to figure out, because we really do have at least 10 players that I would be equally comfortable with any of them starting. But when the subs, and so then it's I get it's very tempting for him to sub in and out a lot because last year we didn't have that depth due to injuries.
Right.
Not talent, but injuries. And so now we have that many talented guys who aren't injured. I get the temptation, but when it's so constant and it's just one or two players, then we end up with mixes of players in there where you may have more than one player who usually plays the same position, and so then they aren't as familiar with where they're supposed to go in the plays. We have several guys who, like you said, aren't new to the WAC, but they're new to us, our program, and our plays. And so then that's just a lot to throw on them. So that's why I've even said, even if we came up with 2 groups of 5 and every however many minutes subbed 5 at a time, which is what he actually did in the Southern Utah game. And I think that's better because then at least everyone knows exactly where they're supposed to be, what position they're running, where they're going in the play. And it's more of a, hey, we're subbing everyone out to give a few minutes break. And so it's not like you have one player thinking, oh, as soon as I foul, as soon as I turn the ball over, I'm going to get yanked out, because then that hurts their confidence if they feel like the coaches don't have confidence to leave them in for a few more possessions after one mistake.
Well, and to go back to what you're saying about injuries, think about this. Maybe that's part of the thing, is that Kyle knows what they dealt with last year and the way that they play, and he doesn't want to overplay them to where they do get hurt. Like, because you played so much basketball, you rarely get time off in the off season, right? They're back in the gym doing things, working hard and stuff like that. Like, maybe that's in the back of his mind. Like, am I playing these guys too much? Am I needing to sub out so much because I don't want to risk losing any of it? Like, that,
right.
I think that all plays into it. Like, it's huge.
And I get that 1,000%. That's why my opinion was to do the 2 groups of 5, because then you could still be subbing as often and give people breaks, but at least you got 2 solid groups that learn how to be cohesive together, and it's not just like such an errant flip-flop of who's in and who's out. But
yeah, I mean, and if there's somebody in there who in your 2 groups of 5 is in, extreme foul trouble,
right, then
yeah, take him out. There's flexibility, but yeah, Kyle, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of continuity and flow. I mean, that was something that Kyle himself, Kyle Keller, said in one of his either post-game matches, pre-game pressers, that even said, like, one thing we need to work on is flow and continuity, and that's just, one of the things I feel like is a huge obstacle to that is the constant subbing. So, I mean,
yeah,
Jacqueline, I think both you and Jacqueline are spot on when it comes to that. But again, like you said, we're not paid the big bucks to coach a D1 NCAA basketball mid-major team, and I never will be. Yeah. So, there's probably stuff behind the scenes that
take everything with a grain of salt.
Exactly. What we think is best for the team.
If you see me looking around, I'm just trying to, like, figure out. This is like, I've never been. This is the best part of my travel, you guys, is like the back roads that they take me on to get to places and stuff, like, that I've never been and will never ever be again, probably.
Yeah.
Like, I mean.
No, I agree with that with traveling too, because on our way home from Hot Springs last weekend, one of the bridges, one of the long strips of bridge and highway was iced over, so they rerouted us through this random side highway through Arkansas and Louisiana, and I was like, cool, I'm not mad about it one bit, because I've never seen this part of the country.
Was it dark, and were you scared?
No and no. It was broad daylight.
That's the only bad thing about back roads. I'm sorry, I'm getting off the SFA game, but, like, that's the only bad thing about back roads is at night. Like, if there's nothing around and you have, like, driving through the piney woods at night when I've done that before. Like, it's kind of freaky, you guys, on these 2-lane roads.
I know. We've been there, done that.
It's straight out of, like, a Saw movie or something.
I was about to say,
it's, like, freaky.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, like, yeah. So, I'm going to let you guys go. I talk too much. I love you guys. I'll see you guys.
We love you too.
We love you.
It's a shame that you're not coming out to Utah when the Jacks come out to Utah Valley in a couple weeks. But we will see you in WAC Vegas. So we got another buddy coming too. Me and John, our other buddy Robert is going to come down. I'll send you a picture, and he's a hoot too. But he's not getting down there till Friday. So
Okay.
But he's fun. You'll like him. He's good, and we're gonna have fun. And
we can't wait. We can't wait. WAC
Yeah.
Vegas honestly is something we look forward to every year. I mean, mainly obviously for basketball, but close second is to hang out with you.
Can you believe it's a month and a half away? Like, no, wait. No,
I know. I shared with you and Jacqueline the other day my countdown on my phone.
What's it down to? It should be down
54.
to like 50. Yeah, that's right.
Just shy of a month, 2 months. I mean,
yeah. 54 days. We are so.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
We are so excited. Oh, look, one of our favorite Twitter accounts, Cat Fans. Says,
yeah, I just saw him tweet at me. That's
awesome.
Awesome.
Y'all didn't tell us the GOAT was joining the podcast today. Be safe, WAC Hoops Nation. To be fair, Cat Fans, we didn't know either. Sometimes it's just a last second.
Yeah, I hit them up as I was driving and said, hey, put me on the podcast right now. And Jacqueline sent me the link. I'm so happy she did. I wasn't sure she was going to.
Oh, come on, Kyle.
Get out of here, Kyle.
Well,
God bless.
Initially, in our group text, it didn't send a text message. That's why they text you individually, because it didn't send a group text. So, anyways, love you guys, and we'll talk again soon, and see you in WAC Vegas in 2 months.
All right.
Safe, Kyle.
All right. Congrats, Jacks fans. Do you guys play tomorrow? Or do you guys have the day off?
No, we have the day off.
We're off this weekend, yeah.
Okay. Enjoy the weekend, Jacks fans. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Kyle. Bye, bud.
Bye, Kyle.
Well, that was a fun little detour from our normal. Yeah, but no, I think Kyle made some really good points. And honestly, a lot of the things that he said were things that we've said as well, just in different words. So back to the game.
Yeah. Okay. Back to feats of strength.
So who else?
So last game leader we haven't covered yet, Frank. Let's see. Dang it. Hold on. Oh, no, we just covered Frank. Sorry. Just kidding.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to talk about CC for a second because
Yes, I was just about to say CC and his freaking defense and that dunk.
Yeah. So, okay. He made a great backdoor cut, got an assist from Day to score. He did make, let's see, he only scored 6, but let me say he made several really good moves to the bucket that I feel like it's unfair to say he didn't finish because he finished the play. The ball just either like rimmed out or kind of popped in and back out. So there were a bunch that were right on the edge that if they would have gone in, he would have been one of the lead scorers as well.
Oh, easily.
The dunk you mentioned, last minute of regulation, fast break dunk, amazing.
You want to tell people what happened at that moment after he dunked that ball? What did Alex do?
Oh gosh, I don't. Oh, well,
I fixed it, but
our little gate right by our seats has been precarious all season. It's been hanging on its last leg. So
it's been broke for 2 years, dude.
It's been broken. It's just been like hanging on by a thread, and you got to be very gentle with it. So we didn't originally break it. We just kind of
it's been jacked for a while, and I
put it back on there.
I ripped it off its hinges and then had to fix it for like a minute and 30 seconds after the dunk. So if you're watching the game and you notice me fucking with that damn gate for like 30 to 45 seconds after the dunk, I couldn't even celebrate because I legitimately had to fix the gate. I felt so bad. I was like, I just ripped the gate off its hinges and I had to put it back. Anyway, it was funny. So if you watch the game back right after that dunk by CC, I definitely ripped the gate up. I was just too pumped. I could not. I mean, you give me the freaking Matt dunk, and then you give me the freaking CC breakaway dunk.
Yeah. And the last minute of the game, so it was like stakes were high. And I forgot to look for that after the dunk whenever I rewatched. But anyway, he had some.
I might have to fast forward to that point.
You're gonna have to. He had some great rebounds. He had 5 rebounds. He had a great steal with 1 minute left in overtime. Then he got a rebound at the almost very end of overtime to draw a foul and got 2 free throws. He only made 1. We would have loved to have both, but we were definitely in a more comfortable position after that 1 make.
Right. Good point. Good point, man. Like I said, it was the whole game was a dogfight. I'm trying to think of who else.
There was. I have 2 more specific player notes, and then
go ahead and do those. Do those because I was looking at my notes and I know I'm missing somebody.
So Day, like we mentioned at the beginning, he was, kind of coming struggling off a knee injury. I think my dad said that Rob said in the post game on the radio that he didn't practice at all yesterday. So he wasn't, on the top of his scoring. He wasn't on the top of his game, but he still played great. And we still saw at least, 1 or 2 of his signature moves. He had a really beautiful spin move. To score, another player I have to highlight, probably one of his best games he's played for us, Clayton. He had a great save out of bounds that resulted in a 3 for Frank. And then he had 2 offensive rebounds that, at least that I counted, that resulted in second chance points. He didn't score any, but like I said, the rebounds and the saves that he did were very, very effective and important, crucial.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like you said, he provided us multiple opportunities and second chance with those rebounds and those good reflexes there, grabbing those. He had some crap calls called on him, and he didn't let him get him down. And after the game, I told him, I was like, don't worry about those calls. I mean, those were absolutely weak dog crap fouls, so I wouldn't be too concerned at all. It was nothing.
Agreed. So my first what
about the crowd? Ma, we talked about the crowd. We said the crowd was good. We want more of the crowd, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So my first general note, and these last 2, I was very, 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 very pleased with. So at the very end of regulation, we did a fantastic job of not fouling on that last drive. If we would have fouled on that last drive, we absolutely would have lost that game in regulation, never would have went to overtime. So loved that. Then again in overtime, we had great restraint on defense to not foul. It wasn't their very last offensive possession, but it was the next to last in OT. We had like 38 seconds left, so they could have ran most of the clock off. But they immediately tried to take it to the basket. We did not foul. Frank grabbed up the rebound, got a foul, and then made 2 out of 2 on his free throws. So clutch.
Yeah.
I really loved those 2 sequences there.
Yeah. The finish was great. I really thought we didn't buckle under any sort of pressure, and we finished it just as well as anybody could in that situation, for sure. Absolutely. Great job, Jax. Gave us all a heart attack, cardiac Jax, but got the dub.
Thank goodness. All right. You have any more feats of strength, or
that was it? You covered all of them. Yeah, I don't want to have to, do it again. You did them all.
Next section.
Get them.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it. You.
All right, I got grievances, babe. First off the bat, slow start. Second off the bat, first possession, we have the ball, an immediate turnover with a bad pass into the lane. Literally, the game just started.
Paper problems.
An immediate turnover.
I know. Yeah. So, like I said, with the 4 turnovers in the first 4 minutes, we had a lot of sloppy passes at the beginning, and the main 2 that I'm seeing that were recurring multiple times during the game were passes into our post players where we either pass it way too high and their defender jumps up and catches it, or it's like out of bounds or behind their back. Or and this happened a couple of times with passes into Nana and to Clayton, which I'll cite that as why Clayton didn't score any. They bounce past it right at their feet, and I'm like, these dudes are almost 7 feet tall. You can't. I mean, when they're double, triple team down there, you can't pass it to their feet. You can't do it because even if they get down there and get it, they've got the ball too low to do anything.
Right. Man, yeah, that was driving me nuts because I'm like, listen, we've seen Clayton do it. We've seen him get past the ball and going right up for a layup. Like, we know he can do it. But as long as you're passing it into them in an effective manner, then that'll happen. But if you're, like you said, passing it down to their feet, these guys are not – come on. And then they're going to get pickpocketed. Like, that was very stressful. I wrote down – that was like my number one grievance was – well – top grievance when it came to our play specifically was the passing basically into the lane. Passing everywhere else was fine.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, passing everywhere else was just fine, but it was just the passes into the paint, into the lane, into our post players that was causing a lot of the turnovers.
Yeah, and it seems to be at the beginning of everything because we had those several at the beginning of the actual game, and then in overtime, the very first 2 offensive possessions, we turned the ball over. And I'm like,
right,
we don't have a lot of time. Can't be turning it over now. This is go time. This is crunch time. This is it.
Right. That was stressful. That was on my very, very top of my list was passing into the lane, and just the post, getting the ball into the post in general. That was a big grievance. Other ones were not necessarily us. I mean, turnovers, which attributes and is related to that specific point. But the obvious missed travel call and hooking calls were getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah, so I have a whole section of my complaints with the officials, and you'll know this never happens. And one of them,
and that's why I know that the officials were screwing up because you were actually getting on to them, and you normally don't. So
yeah,
continue.
So there were multiple fouls that were not being called, and I have a bullet point list of them. What you said, the hooking in the lane, it was number 25 almost every time down the court. Yep. He was blatantly hooked, and they weren't saying anything. Nothing. We had a lot of over-the-back calls that they just didn't blow the whistle at all. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of hand checking that was not called. I mean,
always. Mm-hmm.
Every
bunch of flopping too.
Well, I'm getting to that, but on the foul section, the hand checking just drove me insane, and I'm about to have a probably unpopular hot take, but I'm gonna say it. I know it was number 11, and I can't remember the other dude, but
was it my British guy?
0, but there are 2 little white guards. Every time down the floor, they were hand checking. They were holding on to the guy, and I wanted to just be like, look. It was even worse when I rewatched it and saw it more obviously. I'm like, we all know you're white, but you don't have to tell me you're slow without telling me you're slow. Like, now you're just embarrassing yourself because you're showing that you can't keep up with our dudes on D without holding on to them. Like, please stop embarrassing us.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I was getting really tired of yelling, hooking, hand check, flop. I mean, again,
let's talk about the flop.
It's different because, again, we know the refs aren't perfect and they're not going to see everything. But when they're literally looking right directly at the play where the infraction is occurring and they're still not calling it, that's when I get pissed.
And when it's consistent, almost every possession, because 33 was flopping almost every possession.
Every possession.
0 was flopping almost every possession. Way too many flops. Neither one of them got even one flop warning. And then this number 0, Schumacher, however you say his name, his little like faking his injury, and the ref stopped play. I'm like,
that was dog shit.
What? For what? Because here's the thing. If they would have immediately blown their whistle when he got injured, and yes, I'm using quotation marks because boy was not injured. But if they would have immediately blown the whistle, then okay, let's stop. Let's review the film, see what grade of foul it was. But the thing is, the ref inbounding the ball, and it was right in front of the inbounds because he was, guess what, hand checking and all up in Trell's face. And then he's going to play flailing around like he got hit and elbowed in the face or something. The ref did nothing, staring right at it, nothing, because there was nothing there. And then we get the ball all the way down to the other end of the court, and he's going to be, holding his face like he's so injured. And they stop play and go check the monitors. And what did they do? Nothing. They came back, no foul at all, because they didn't call it in the first place because it wasn't foul.
Because there was no foul.
So there was no flagrant to like upgrade it to. They just gave us the inbounds again. So like what did we stop play for?
We literally just elongated the game again for another, freaking 5 minutes for literally nothing. The game was already going on, longer than War and Peace over here. Like, we don't need more stoppages for faking injuries. Like, how old are we?
It was, they were like every time down the court, they were already getting ready to like, because on one of the fouls they called on 33, a blocking down, in the lane, especially when they played the replay, you could see him already leaning. First of all, he didn't have his feet set, but he was already starting his little lean before there was even contact.
Right.
I'm like,
right.
Or is Seattle U like coaching them to do this? I don't know, because I'm not making any allegations. I'm just saying it's happening every time down the court, and their coaches aren't correcting it. So,
yeah, I mean, again, it's they're anticipating the bump or the the body check a little too early, and it's a little too obvious. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna sell it, at least sell it good.
Yeah.
Like what we saw last night was to the point of comedy.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Again, if you're going to sell it, at least sell it well. That's what I can tell my students. If you're going to cheat, at least you better cheat like you've never cheated before.
Yeah.
To where me, the cheat checkers, the computers, the AIs even get cheated. You know what I mean? Like, if you're at least do something, be good at it, babe. That's my thing. Big grievance to our sweet, whiny baby number 11, Mr. John. I'm surprised at one. I mean, he complained every foul. I mean, at one point, if I was the refs, I would have at least given him at least a little bit of talking to and just said, listen, you complain or bitch again, like,
yeah,
zip it, me a babe. Because it got too much. Because this is my thing. Like, if you're going to be here, okay, let me go back. Consistency is key when it comes to the reffing, correct? So if you're going to call fouls for something specific on one end, you should be calling them on the other end as well. That's just how things should work. Guarantee you, if Day-Day, Trell, any one of our guys complained as much as number 11 anytime there was a foul, we would have gotten teed up.
Yeah. And beyond that, it was even more than that. Even because he was crying to the refs every time for a foul. But even when there was just incidental, normal contact, basketball is a contact sport, every time he was, I mean, I've never seen such a big crybaby. Like, they would barely make just completely incidental contact, and he'd be like acting like he got injured. And I'm just like, you never
took away his second half sucker.
And I'm just like, have you never played basketball? Like, there is incidental contact. Every time that you're barely touched is not a foul.
Give me a break, buddy. Literally, it's like somebody took his sucker away from him. Man, give me a break, man. First of all, go take the whine and cry baby stuff somewhere else, because nobody in here is sympathizing or is smelling what you're putting down, buddy. So just take a hike. And second of all, like, play the game. Don't worry about what other people are doing or what's happening. You play your game. You play your game. Okay? It was getting to be too much. I'm like, don't worry about, like, me even yelling at the team that we're trying to beat. Like, don't worry about it. Like, quit being such a baby and play your game. Like, I just don't get it. Like, here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you right now, boys listening, if I see any of y'all doing that crap, I will say it too. Like, this is not the time to be whiny babies. Okay? We got more important things than being whiners. It's getting out there and it's winning time, baby. That's what it is. So if you were more concerned about the win and getting the ball into the hoop, then you wouldn't be so concerned about, oh, a foul. Oh, I got hit incidentally. Go give me a break. Go take those tears to your mama. Like, for God's sakes. And speaking of technicals, I do agree that the tech on the Seattle ref, while we do love the points, thank you very much, was a little weak.
I don't know what he said though. And it must have, because Dad brought it up after the game too. He was like, I couldn't tell what he said, but he was like, it had to have been something pretty egregious, because he really wasn't on the refs most of the game that badly.
At all, really.
Like, as soon as he said whatever he said, that ref turned around and was like,
it was an immediate, just, I mean, immediate. But that's my thing. Again, back to the consistency of reffing. You have this coach from Seattle who doesn't say boo or yells at the refs pretty much the whole game, says one thing, and then you got a ref from the UTA game who literally yells, blow your freaking effing whistle as loud as possibly, and nothing.
Yeah.
So, like, again, another objective thing or subjective thing. Like, I mean, if I was a ref, I would have given the cursing a T, and again, we don't know what he said. I would love to know what he said. Who do we know on that side of the court who could tell us what he said?
We can ask Rob. I bet he heard it.
That's true. We might ask Rob next time.
Maybe, but I don't know, because he wears his headset.
He probably wouldn't. He doesn't have who sits over there that I know. I was trying to think of who sits behind the away team bench. We'll have to think. I have to think about it. I have to think of who sits over there. Because, I mean, if it was that bad to get a T, nobody heard it though.
I know.
Like, it wasn't loud.
Yeah.
So it was either something personal or, I don't know.
Yeah, because he wasted no time in turning around and teeing him up.
Yeah.
So I just have two more notes on our.
Yeah, I've already said all of mine.
I feel like we let 33 get a lot of backdoor action, and he got, a dunk or two off that. I wasn't happy with that. And then towards the very end of regulation, we let them get a wide open dunk test. Oh my gosh, I guess I know more about basketball than I thought, because I could see that all the way at the top. That's exactly what was happening all night. I'm sure you're referring to the flopping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, you definitely understand the flop test.
And Cat fans just commented and said the head ref last night, Jason Garrettson, is the son of retired and longtime NBA official Ron Garrettson. So he grew up around flopping and needless long delays.
Well, he needs to figure out that he's reffing in NCAA and not in the NBA. And it's a little different.
Very true.
Food for thought there. But yeah, almost the very end of regulation, we let them get a wide open dunk. Pretty sure it was 33. And we fouled them. And I'm like, okay, this is not the time for this. And if you're going to foul, at least make it count and keep them from making it. But anyways, Just a little funny grievance because I think you and I counted 3 times last night. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but we always say every time that Trail shoots a 3 after a whistle, he makes it, and I'm pretty sure it happened 3 times last night.
At least 3. There was at least 1 in the first half that I saw, okay, and then 2 more in the second half, and there might have been 1 in OT. I can't remember.
When I watched it back, I saw 2, but I'm pretty sure there were at least 3, and some of them could have been missed if it cut to commercial before. But yeah, just
there was 1 in OT for sure, so 3 possibly total.
It's just ironic. That's the best word I can think of.
I love you. If you listen, Trell, I don't know if he does. He hasn't said if he does or not. I love you so much, but damn, what a tease. I mean, you miss all the ones in the game, and then literally the one going into like a timeout or whatever the hell it is, dead ball, you make, and that's such a tease. The one in overtime was the worst one because literally everybody's at the edge of their seat. And then there's like a timeout or something called, and you literally just right there, right in front of the basket, our basket, right in front of the bench, just throw up a tee or not tee, throw up the 3 ball and just swish like it was nothing. And then like 2 plays before that, anyway.
Yeah, it's just funny.
I love you so much. I really do. But you're giving me a friggin' migraine.
My last grievance, and I've complained about this before, and there's multiple layers to this. I don't understand the game plan of it in the first place, but I'll explain why it irritated me even more last night. Okay, here's the thing. It does get to like a dicey area of trying to decide which way to go, but there is a certain point where it is just, I have watched basketball my whole entire life so much. I understand that the point of fouling towards the end of a game to try to get the ball back is a great strategy. Got it.
You hate it so much.
It irritates me so much though, because there is a point. If it's even remotely possible or highly probable, I get it. And there's times where we do it. I'm not saying I'm against it completely. Right. Where I get irritated is when because there is a certain point where it's literally not doing the only 2 things it's going to achieve is letting the other team beat you by more points and drag out the game. And here's where a situation that falls into that area. There is no need to foul when you are down by 3 with 1.1 second left. No need. Nothing can come from that except that, thank you, we got to score more points. Because I could understand it at 11 seconds, they were down by 3 and they fouled. Got it. That's plenty of time to get the ball back and perhaps maybe get something. Still going to be, because if we're at this point, we're both in the double bonus. We're getting 2 free throws. Right. If we make 2 of them, you're dead. If we make 1, you got to get a 4-point play. So it's still not really something I would do, but I get it. But no need to foul when you're down by 3 with 1.1 second. You don't have time to do anything. And here's the kicker. Both of those times, they fouled Trell, who made 8 for 8. So you're dummies, and you literally just let us score 2 more points, beat you by 2 more points. You dragged it out. The regulation time of this game already went so far over. It was almost 9 o'clock.
So far over. This game felt like it lasted, again, I said it before, 10 hours, man.
It was around 9 o'clock when regulation ended, which it's usually like 8:30-ish. Mm-hmm. Then we go into overtime. I have no patience for you fouling to just foul our 100% free throw shooter to let us beat you by 2 more points and drag the game out even longer when I'm hungry and I'm like, we could already be eating right now. But instead, let us beat you by 2 more points, and now I'm hangry.
Y'all, Jacqueline was getting so hangry at the end of the game. And as someone who knows her very well, as has her bestie, I'm telling you right now, this girl puts food away. And when she gets hungry, you got about 10 minutes, maybe less, before she starts getting hangry. So
hangry is a place you don't want to be. But again, it just
I don't
doesn't
want
make
to hear her
sense.
when she's hangry.
It just doesn't make. I'm like, it makes no sense. You're literally just
You're delaying the inevitable.
you're delaying the inevitable and letting us beat you by more points. And now that we got this stupid resume seating that I could gripe about for hours, like you're just. I mean, I'm not saying that 2 points makes that big of a deal, but like you're just not helping yourself. There's no reason. Like, just take your L and go home. We want to eat.
That's the main thing. Take your L, go home. We want to go and get food.
So that's it. I'm done. That's my last. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when and where. All right. So, Jacqueline, what was your one word to summarize the game?
My word was teamwork, because like we said, like Chauncey said to us, this is, I feel like, the best, and maybe we've said it once or twice before, but I really think this is the best game I've seen all season of just all across the board teamwork. Every single one of our players, even if they didn't get any points on the final stat line, every single one of them contributed majorly. We had 6 players in double figures.
Right.
Everybody was just spectacular.
Couldn't agree more. So I've said this word multiple times tonight. I say today during this podcast, but I used a loophole in the one word rule and with a hyphenated word, dogfight. I've said dogfight throughout the entire podcast. This was a dogfight through and through. Could you only imagine if their best player was on the court? It would have been even more of a dogfight. Could you imagine if Day was at full strength? Could you imagine if, Trell was at full strength hitting threes? Could you imagine? Absolute dogfight with a good Seattle team. I cannot give them, enough due. They are a good team. I am totally dreading us going to Seattle and playing them there at their home. They're a really good team. They have great players, good depth. They have, like I said, they have great shot blockers. They got tall dudes that know how to ball. So I got to give them their flowers, but we were just a little bit better than them last night. And thank God for that, because I was about to pull my hair out. But it was a dogfight through and through. You cannot deny it. And I'm just so pleased to watch us play at the level that we're playing now.
Me too.
Hope it continues. We all hope it continues. All right, guys. So wrapping things up here, we have no game tomorrow. We're off this weekend, so hopefully the boys will get a little bit of rest, especially those with a little bit of injury. Get some work on it. Have Adil and Sam get a little workout in, get a little bit of rest, relaxation, a little bit of therapy. Get better. Get a little rest on your knees and on your arms and legs. And we didn't talk about it tonight, but Jalil, his fall, it looked worse than what it truly was.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a little bit of a stinger. Like, he went down on, that arm and neck area. So according to Doc last night, he said it looked worse than what it was. It sounded worse. It was giving us major PTSD when Nana went down. The sound of body hitting court. So as far as we know, he's good. I think it was just one of those things. It was just, you just fell down hard and took a minute to get up, So we don't have a game till next Thursday, back home in the Sawmill. Against who, Jacqueline?
GCU.
Frickin' A. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right, let me just be fair. GCU is a good team. Can't deny it. They're 17-1. They haven't lost a single WAC game, but everybody is fallible. Everybody has weaknesses. Let's just hope we take this time to figure out what those are. Because, if not, it's going to be a long game. My thing is that anybody is beatable at any point in time, no matter where they're at, home or away. I don't care how good they are. We've proven that time and time again. We are the giant killers. We've slayed many giants in the past. I don't know if you want to categorize GCU as a giant, but the fact that they have one of the best records in NCAA. Oh, good for them. But like I said, everybody's fallible. Everybody has weaknesses, and we just got to figure out what those are. Everybody can be beaten. So we just got to put our nose to the ground, watch some film, and figure it out. So it's going to be a big game. We need everybody we can there. I mean, I can't stress this enough. It's going to be a big game at home next Thursday, or this Thursday coming up in the Sawmill. Looking back at GCU's schedule, like I said, it's not like they've played like anybody super notable. The only top 25 team that they played and beat, which still is a good feat, is San Diego State. At the time, San Diego State was number 25. Other than that, they've played decent mid-majors, and then they've played everyone else. So it's one of those things where I'm just not 100% sure that they've been fully challenged. And if you look at every time GCU has played, they've had really shitty starts. So we understand that. It's the second half of the game where they come back swinging and then start really putting the pressure on. So if we can figure that out and stop them in the second half, I think that's what one of the keys to the game is.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. All right. So we've been on here for an hour and 21 minutes. It is time to sign off. Hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's podcast. I keep saying tonight, but it's 4:20, whatever time it is, 25. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope you guys are staying warm. It's supposed to get down under freezing again tonight. So make sure you have all of your cold weather gear on, and you have all your pipes and your water dripping and all of the things you need to do. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I hope you guys have a good night. Happy Friday. And as always, Axe and Jacks.
With Alex and Jax.